Video games have become an inherent part of our popular culture as well as one of the largest industries in the United States. They are a topic of extensive discussion and especially in the media. For more than a decade now, a vast majority of children in the United States engage in playing video games during childhood, and results of a nationally representative study of U.S. teenagers show us that 99% of boys and 94% of girls play video games. This is according to the Targeted News Service December 4th, 2019 edition. While children oftentimes don't see anything wrong with their engagement in video games and like them because they're fun, exciting, and challenging, parents may worry about the potential negative effects that they may have. It's a widespread concern that violent video games promote aggression, reduce pro-social behavior, increase impulsivity, and are afraid that this is yet another form of media besides TV shows, movies, and comics, etc., where children can encounter violence daily and become desensitized to it. That is why we must educate one another on the negative effects that video games can have on younger individuals and do our part in making sure that we are protecting and allowing younger generations to grow up in a positive atmosphere. Today I'll be talking to you about the problems, causes, and solutions of video game exposure. First, let's talk about the problems. Now, the problems concerning this issue have been seen negatively affecting the growth and developmental skills in children. To begin, in the University Wire, November 7th, 2019 edition, it states that physical impairments, including high blood pressure and sedentary effects such as obesity or overweight issues, developmental delay, and muscular disease or overuse, can stem from video game exposure. When children are gaming, their bodies are sedentary and their brains are overstimulated. Developing bodies crave movement, yet video games entrance and hypnotize the brain into sitting still for long periods of time. Sedentary bodies delay physical development while also overstimulating the heart, causing serious and often irreversible physical impairments. Additionally, as reported in the Los Angeles Times July 23, 2019 edition, it states that brain damage from frontal lobe pruning causes attention deficit, impulsivity, and learning disorders. The frontal lobes of the brain are known for executive functions such as attention, memory, and impulse control, which are critical for academic success. Because brains develop in conjunction with stimuli in the surrounding environment, media content and high-screen users is key regarding to brain pruning. So as stated in the Business Insider December 3rd, 2019 edition, it states that exposure to mindless or entertainment content, such as the fast-paced or violent video games, they constitute passive or destructive learning that rarely requires the use of frontal lobes, further resulting in frontal lobe pruning. Another aspect that video games can be seen negatively affecting one is through their mental health. In the USA Today, August 13th, 2019 edition, it states that video games are highly immersive and are persuasively and immorally designed by psychologists for the sole purpose of making users addictive. And from this, anxiety and depression are consistent with gaming, and suicide risk and attempts when gaming become also addictive. This can also start to interfere with one's recommended amount of sleep as well as academic performance, as many gamers are seen to drop out of school or become truant. Lastly, one of the main and prominent ways we see video games negatively affecting individuals is through one's aggressiveness and or violence. According to the Computer Weekly News, October 30th, 2019 edition, it states that the American Academy of Pediatrics, they published a policy statement concerning virtual violence, and it stated that in over 400 studies, including violent media of all types, researchers found that there was a significant association between exposure to media violence and aggressive behavior, aggressive thoughts, angry feelings, and the physiological arousal. Now that I've talked to you about the problems, let's talk about the causes. Now, the main reason why people choose to expose individuals, particularly at a young age, to such violent video games is because they lack the right education concerning this issue. As reported in the Economics March 19th, 2020 edition, it states that video games enhance problem-solving and decision-making skills. Many individuals believe that these games make for an excellent workout for children's minds as they have to use their logical skills and creativity. People also continue to use video games for children, or allow children to play video games, because it strengthens their hand-eye coordination and fine motor and spatial skills. Lastly, they also state that children are able to improve one's ability to multitask. Being able to effectively and quickly switch between two or more tasks is an important skill, and it's been suggested that video games enhance one's ability to apprehend and track many shifting variables and manage multiple objectives. These skills, although great to have, can be learned over time by other methods, and the cons seem to greatly outweigh the benefits of gaming. Now that I've talked to you about the causes, let's talk about the solutions. Now, we can diminish this issue, but it starts with us and our willingness to incorporate changes in order to steer younger individuals from this type of behavior. For instance, we could do our research on the type of games we are looking to exposing our children to if we choose to do so, and that means that we can at least filter out the violent and inappropriate games and choose ones that could actually help their academic skills. Also, we could just watch an individual's cue, meaning that if they start exhibiting worrisome behavior, we should take initiative to give them the proper care and help that they need. And lastly, limiting the time on playing violent video games, or not letting them play video games whatsoever until recommended by a pediatrician or a trusted healthcare official. Now, this doesn't mean to avoid video games forever. However, in the most crucial part of young individuals to grow, it may be best to avoid video games that could harm their development. Clearly, there are viable solutions. Today, I've talked to you about the problems, causes, and solutions of video game exposure. Now, like I mentioned before, video games in general have been part of our culture for so long that trying to restrict game usage for younger individuals may seem off-putting for some. However, if all individuals were aware of the harmful effects that can stem from such content, then they would not allow or encourage this type of environment for younger generations. And that is why we must do our part in doing proper research and letting younger individuals have exposure to mature games when the timing is right. Like I mentioned, this doesn't mean that all video games should be banned, because that would be nearly impossible. However, we can direct our attention towards games that are beneficial to kids in the long run.